And these men that be calling the show, my grandmother, 91, is right. Man, they softer than Charmin tissue, man. Have a good day, Kyle.
WNIR, hello.
Same old song and dance, that guy.
Yep.
Same old song and dance. Just said it yesterday, my 91-year-old grandmother. Well, let the law of the land say what it needs to say.
He called Mr. Sunday yesterday?
Yeah, he called and talked to, not yesterday, Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Carrie, and he had the same thing.
Well, let's go through this, Snowman. Hold on a minute. After Maine became the second state to boot Trump off the state's ballot, a group of lawmakers have introduced legislation in U.S. Congress that would punish states who opt to take a similar action. The new law, if any state in our union blocks the official nominee of a major political party from the ballot, their electoral slate will not be counted by Congress in the following January 6th, said Clay Higgins, Republican of L.A. So ironically, if they take him off, and I know that Colorado has 10 electoral votes. I think Maine is 3. So let's, instead of 538, you subtract what's 38 minus 30. So you'd have 525, and you'd have to have 3/5 of that. So you're going to lower the threshold from 270 down to around 262. Okay, making it easier.
Right.
But let's go with the elephant in the room. What happens if Kennedy runs third party, which he is, and he actually gets electoral votes, unlike Ross Perot? Ross Perot got 19% of the vote, which largely went taken away from Grandpa Bush, but he didn't get any electoral votes, did Ross Perot, okay? But that gave us Bill Clinton. But let's say that nobody gets to 270. Then you would have, in my example, Donald Trump and Nikki Haley as his vice president, in my example, right? Okay?
Okay.
And you have Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And then you have Kennedy and Vivek Ramaswamy. Those are my 3 examples. You ready? As his vice president, okay? So the U.S. Congress will elect the president if no one gets to a majority of the electoral college. You ready? So the Congress goes, we have 1 vote majority right now. Okay, so in my example, Trump is elected president by the U.S. Congress. The U.S. Senate has to elect the vice president. So you conceivably could have Donald Trump and, say, Kamala Harris as president and vice president.
You think maybe that's why McCarthy is walking away? Well, walked away.
McCarthy spit the bit. He's like, I'm out. No, he's cashing in like Newt Gingrich and all the other people.
Sure he is.
You know,
He doesn't want to be a part of a vote for Donald Trump because they know things are going to happen.
Which Mr. Johnson is on the Trump train, right? The new Speaker of the House, right?
He is, exactly. So, with that being said, other people that have, well, I'm not going to run, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, they already know what is probably going to happen. In your example, that's what I believe is going to happen. I don't think that there's going to be too many eyes watching the voting process this time, whether it's mailboxes, drop boxes, counting, we're pulling shades down, or fake faucets breaking, or whatever it may be. There's going to be way too many eyes on for the Republican side.
As the Who wrote 50 years ago, we won't get fooled again.
Exactly. I really think that they don't believe they can cheat the way they did before, because we know 160
because of the pandemic and all the people that were meant to be in were made to stay outside. The watchers, look, it's been said probably since democracy was invented in Athens, the term blackball comes from, they basically would put a black pebble in to get rid of someone, or a white pebble to, and that's where the term,
I know that.
So the ancient, it doesn't matter who votes, it matters who counts the vote.
Exactly. That's the way it has always been, and Trump just opened our eyes. But the reason I called is ethics in players at college football. Now, hear me out.
Mm-hmm.
Florida State, Ohio State had a bunch of people jump in the portal, and other ones that said, we just ain't playing. Now, those players there that were on full ride scholarships should have to pay every red cent back, because the fans that buy the merchandise, the fans that buy the tickets, are not getting their money's worth because the players, don't want to get hurt and want to make their chances at a pro contract better. I mean, I've seen all the excuses out there in the world. Well, Ohio State's a better team.
Well, let me. I don't know if it's like this. I lived with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I ran track with 1, 2, 3, Henry, Doc, Marcel. I probably know. I guarantee. And then I've had, hey, Mickey, Happy New Year, Mickey, who went to West Virginia University. When we went down to Charleston, Mickey came down. Mickey's a young lady. A full ride contract, okay, is a misnomer. It is 4 one-year contracts with a
exactly.
Okay,
yep.
You know this.
Got to maintain.
So let's say that you are a senior and you are playing in the Depends Bowl or whatever, right? The Joe Biden Depends Bowl, okay? And you don't want to have your knee blown out in the third quarter against some kid that's, whatever. You might be on the hook for your final year contract. Now, is the full ride scholarship, does it include postseason? I don't know.
Well, I agree with the yearly thing. You got to maintain a grade point average. You have to maintain certain things in order to keep that, no matter what level of scholarship you have, full ride, partial ride, whatever it may be.
I disagree. I disagree with you on that.
Yeah.
I don't think I favor the college athlete, the student athlete. I always have. I'm not biased. I am biased. I admit it. I'm anything.
You are.
I was for the name and NIL name and what do they call it? Name recognition. Where who is? I'm having a hell of a time with names today. It's one of those days. Arch Manning. Who is a college student and athlete, Arch Manning? Do you know?
Yeah, well, his dad, claim to fame, was quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. And
his grandfather is Archie Manning, who was with the New Orleans Saints, right? Archie Manning.
Was that his grandfather or father? It must have been his grandfather.
No, I think it's grandfather. But all I know is he has a $3 million contract. And no one even, with Texas, he's in Texas, somebody down there. I'd have to look it up. I didn't even notice until Pro Street. Hey, Pro Street, Happy New Year out there in Missouri, if you're listening by any chance. He's the one that told me that Arch Manning had a $3 million name and licensing agreement with must have been some athletic. I don't know who it's with, but I think he told me, I don't know if it's true or not, Arch Manning might make more money than his coach does at Texas or whatever.
That's kind of hard to believe.
I'm all for it.
Oh, I'm not saying anything against them making money. What I'm saying is they should still have to fulfill the obligation to play, whether it's a meaningless bowl game or not, just to the people that have paid us taxpayers.
Texas backup quarterback Arch Manning steals spotlight ahead of the Sugar Bowl. He didn't even start. He's 18. He'll be 19 April. Cooper Manning and Ellen Heidingsford. I think his mom is Archie Manning, is Peyton and Eli's sister, Ellen. I think that's the... I'm not sure. But I know that he's not even a starting quarterback. But he's making $3 million. And I say if you can get it, get it.
Oh, I agree with you 1,000,000%. If you can get whatever money, get it, because they're going to allow it. What I'm saying is you
don't know. I'm asking anybody listening, does a full ride scholarship include the postseason? You and I don't know
the answer to that. No, I don't know the answer to that. But
if it does, then you think that the college player should have to suit up and travel with the team or forfeit.
Exactly. Number one, for being ethical and loyal. I mean, you're either loyal to the school and the taxpayers for each of these schools. Even though I'm not a fan of Ohio State, a certain amount of my tax dollars still go to Ohio State. Nobody can deny that.
And what's his face joined the portal? Stroud, who was the Ohio State quarterback?
No,
Stroud's playing in the NFL now, right?
Yeah, he's in the NFL. What the heck is his name?
I don't even remember.
Always want to say McCoy or Mavoy or.
But he announced that he was joining. Is he going to the NFL or he was going to do one more year and went to another team? I don't remember.
He went to the college portal, so he didn't even suit up for the game.
Right.
So, and that's my point. So if Alabama, who I'm the biggest fan in the world, and I buy their merchandise.
Well, you're a sucker.
No, Nick Saban, this is his.
Oh, that's the answer we were looking for. Nick Saban played for Kent State, right? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he coached at Cleveland. He coached under Belichick. And, I mean, there's a lot. Saban has a lot of roots around here, but his dynasty that he built, I think this whole portal thing, Kirby Smart, head coach of Georgia, has been very vocal. They've got to make some changes.
Who's they? Georgia or the
NCAA?
Yeah.
NCAA.
Well, was it a Supreme Court ruling?
We're talking two different things.
Well, no. Who approved? Who approved the name and licensing thing? Was that a Supreme Court ruling? Did some college?
I'm pretty sure it was. That's a whole separate issue. I'm not arguing that. I agree with that. You're going to use my name, pay me. What I'm talking about is the whole portal thing.
Well, who got y'all bent out of shape? Who's not playing at Alabama got y'all bent out of shape today?
No, it has nothing to do with Alabama. It has to do with all the whiny people that I know from Ohio State, the fans and the coaches, along with Florida State. Because look how many people cried. Alabama's in the Final Four. Florida State should have been there. Florida State just got whooped 63-3, right?
Right.
Georgia just handed them. All right. Well, that wouldn't have happened if we would have had so and so, so and so. And they listed all the names. Oh, that shows the loyalty. The players that you support.
What did one of the presidents from the 1930s say? If you want loyalty in D.C., get a dog.
You know why one of my businesses never grew, but it's still in existence? Because it was very difficult to find loyalty amongst employees to do what they were supposed to do when I wasn't there.
How so?
Here's a job that you need to do. If I watch over you, you're going to do it exactly how I told you to do it and how you know to do it. If I'm not there, you're going to skimp. And they always do. That's why we have a 100% success rate with that business, which I'll be doing an ad on WNIR. My son decided, hey, Dad, I'm going to advertise there, and I want your voice, to do it.
Really?
I do
all
that.
right.
Yeah.
Welcome to the WNIR
Absolutely.
families of... Now, wait a minute. Hawthorne effect. I'm remembering from my intro to business in the global environment from 15 years ago, teaching at Akron U. Have you ever heard of the Hawthorne effect?
I have, but I can't
know
why.
But it deals with what you're saying. You said you're watching over your employees, and they do what you're. But when the cat's away, the mice will play.
Mice will play.
Okay,
it's true.
It seems to me like, if my memory is firing, the Hawthorne factory. Or a factory. Let's just go back to 1940 and think about the drudgery of working in a dirty factory, right?
Okay.
You've got people smoking cigars and cigarettes, and you got coal burning, and you've got one little 20-watt bulb over your workplace. No, literally, dim, okay?
Seriously, I know.
Along comes this new invention called the fluorescent light bulb, right?
Yep.
So what they did was they installed all of these fluorescent light bulbs into a factory, and they wanted to study the effect of a bright, shiny workplace versus that dull, dingy workplace, okay? So what they did was they installed all of these fluorescent light bulbs, and they told their employees, you are going to see people in white lab coats and safety glasses and a clipboard, and they're going to be standing behind you. Don't pay them no mind, pardon the double negative. Don't pay them any mind. Just do your job you normally would do, okay?
Right.
Well, lo and behold, a month later, the report showed they had a 100% increase in their output, and the people that manufactured the General Electric, or who I think it might have been GE, whoever invented the fluorescent light, Mr. Fluoroscope, whatever, I don't know. But they're saying, see, we told you it's the fluorescent light. So then they equipped and did a huge contract, and they put all the fluorescent lights in, and lo and behold, once you took away the people in the lab coats and the clipboard, their production went back to exactly the way it was. Why? People do a better job when they are being paid attention to.
And that's all about ethics, and that's why my customers, my son's customers now, he's been doing this since 2010 full time, have always got the best because they got us and the people that work for us while we are there. And we never had to return to fix anything because it was done right the first time. You know as well as I do. You know, there's an old saying, you want it done right, do it yourself. You know, there's only a few people I trust to work on my truck, even when it comes to greasing it, because you take it to a truck stop or a lube shop, and if that grease fitting's not taken, they're not going to change it. They just move on to the next one. Well, that's going to cost me money down the road if I don't get things greased. It's the way it is. It takes 3 pounds of grease to grease my truck and trailer. 3 1-pound tubes. I got a battery-operated grease gun that I carry in the truck. With that being said, that's why we never grew, even though we have a 100% success rate. Even though I was attempted to be bought out, but we couldn't do the buyout, I was not going to do it because you weren't going to use my name because of the reputation that I had built. Because you're not are only selling what you can do, you sell yourself. You are literally selling yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Homeowner occupied, they're not there. They're at work. They have to make sure that they trust in me. And I don't care if you have cameras everywhere. Might see me pick my nose every now and again when I was in the basement. But you know what I mean? That kind of stuff has never bothered me because I have nothing to hide. So when I tie that in with what these college kids are doing, I understand the fear of getting hurt, you know, playing at that level. But you also had a contract you signed, and you brought up a good point. I don't know if that includes postseason. I don't know how they're rode up. But I do know there are kids that can't afford to go to school or have to work, you know, as well as I do, had to work their way through school that would have loved to do nothing but be a...
Yeah, you're talking to one, but there you go, right?
Exactly. The same way when I went 3 years. I had to work.
Man, I watched 5 or 6 guys literally pee away. Sorry. They literally just gave up a full ride scholarship. I could think of 3 of them. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, all you got to do is show up. I don't like this college thing. I don't want to, you know. So everybody's wired differently, but I think, I mean, look, there are many second string. I have said forever, Ohio State historically, their second string could beat the University of Akron's first string. Okay, there are a lot of second string players that there's backup players. I mean, look at Joe Flacco a month ago. If they said it once, they said it 6 times on the air when the Browns were playing, and I watched the replay because I was actually at the game and went home and watched the replay. A month ago, Joe Flacco was sitting on the couch, and now he's trying to make a Super Bowl run. You know,
he has the faith. The players have faith in him.
Well, yeah, because he's been there and he's done it, and he's been the MVP of the Super Bowl, right?
I'll tell you the difference. I'll never forget when they had Baker Mayfield mic'd up on the sideline, and one of the linemen was talking to him, offensive lineman, and said, "Lead us, we will follow." And Baker Mayfield, and they aired this thing on YouTube and that, because he's mic'd up, NFL mic up, and he had said, "I don't know what to do." And I'll never forget that being a massive guy compared to Baker Mayfield.
Right.
Looked down on him and says, "Oh, if you don't know, who does?"
Exactly.
So, to have the faith in the leader, which is the quarterback, and what he says is going to happen, no matter what play is called in there, and he audibles or whatever it may be, look at the difference in the way everybody's playing. I mean, I was so impressed with the Browns. I've always been a fan, but I've never been a big NFL fan of any other team than the Kansas City Chiefs because of the ties with Lenny Dawson coming from the Lions. And my mom went to school with him.
Right,
so
right.
That's why I chose them. But I've always been a fan of football itself. And from watching them earlier in the season to now, they're nobody to fool with. The Cleveland Browns...
Well, a couple, three comments on ESPN and a couple others. I was bouncing around and flipping around, and they say, "Well, I wouldn't want to have to take on Cleveland right now. They're a tough out." Yeah, and so if all right, well then riddle me this. Okay, what if on Sunday, what if Joe Flacco, who, believe me, the wacko for Flacco shirts everywhere at Thursday Night Football. I saw them. I was there. Okay. Do the Browns fans that are buying the merchandise and whatever, buying season tickets, do they have a right to watch Flacco start on a meaningless game that he might get injured in Cincinnati Sunday? Same thing.
I think he has to play, and I'll tell you why. Because he's got to keep the momentum. He's built the momentum. How do I put it?
He needs the real-world practice after 3 or 4 weeks.
Sure he does.
Yeah.
And the protection that he's getting, in a way, I mean, I watch all aspects of the game, not just who has the ball at that moment.
Right, sure.
The running game, is so tragic that right now, with Nick Chubb being hurt,
sure,
and Ford's doing great and everything else,
right?
But he needs, hate to say it, he's too old to get rusty again.
Right.
So
he's like the Tin Man. Oil me.
Exactly.
All right. I'm gonna look that up about.
I am too when I get home.
Yeah, I wonder if the NCAA does their contract, meaning their full ride contract. If so, I would agree with you. They could conceivably, the college should say, "You owe us a quarter." Well, let's see. What's one? Well, it wouldn't even be a full semester. It'd be a half semester. Say at Ohio State, right?
Right.
You owe us $30,000 for not playing in the Outback Bowl or whatever bowl game the Buckeyes are playing in. You might be onto something there, but
Kirby Smart, he's been vocal about it.
Who?
And Kirby Smart, head coach of Georgia.
Okay.
Bulldogs. He has been very, very vocal about this whole thing because of how bad they beat up on Florida State. And he said it would have been a totally different game had the players played, and the NCAA needs to make adjustments.
Oh, I see. So Florida State had a bunch of people saying, "I'm not playing."
Yeah, a whole bunch.
I didn't.
Okay, yeah. That's where this came from, because that game should not have been.
When the Buckeyes lost to Michigan, I'm like, well, I don't have to watch a game until Michigan plays Alabama, and so I'll turn it on this afternoon or this evening, whatever it is. What time's kickoff? I don't even know.
5 o'clock.
Okay, all right.
Because I'm.
Well, I'll listen to Carrie while I'm watching the Alabama Crimson Tide.
If you scream "Roll Tide," It's just a reaction.
Okay.
And you just have to live with it.
All right, brother. I'll see you. Bye.
I drive a 1997 Honda CR